Good morning, America. Life-threatening flash floods hitting the plains, creeks in Oklahoma overflowing their banks, cars navigating through flooded roads, the spots that could see another half foot of rain, including the Texas Hill Country, with more than 1,000 flights canceled across the U.S.
Harrowing stories. Families recount getting caught up in the catastrophic Texas floods.
I felt myself go under and have the thought, like, oh my gosh, is this it?
Sharing personal stories and devastating loss as countless volunteers keep up the search for the more than 160 people still missing.
New tariff threats in President Trump's trade war. Europe and Mexico now the targets of 30% surcharges, set to take effect in just weeks.
GMA Health Alert, prediabetes and teens. The concerning new numbers involving America's youth. Dr. Darien Sutton joins us with what parents need to know to keep your children healthy.
Taking off. Dupe destinations that rival some of the hottest vacation spots. How you can save. And summer blockbusters. The season shaping up to be a super one at the box office.
Wimbledon showdown. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner are reviving their rivalry. Former tennis pro James Blake joins us from London with a look ahead to today's final as a new queen of the court is crowned at the All England Club.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Sunday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Happy Sunday to you. A great way to start the week. We've got Malika Andrews in again for WIT this morning.
So glad to be here with you all.
We didn't scare you away.
I was going to say, she came back the second day.
To hang out with you two, how could I not?
There you go. We, of course, have a lot of news to get to this morning, including President Trump teasing an announcement tomorrow about Russia.
Also ahead, some of Trump's most outspoken supporters are now turning on Attorney General Pam Bondi. The uproar over the administration's handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein.
But we do begin here with that severe weather overnight and the ongoing flood threat for Texas. The same devastated areas. They're getting more rain today. Samara Theodore is tracking it all. Good morning, Samara.
Good morning, Gio, and that's what could make the situation so dire. Take a look right now. This is from Dixon, Illinois. You can see this storm, that shelf cloud there. It's systems like this that bring rain like this to places like Edmond, Oklahoma. Cars dredging through 3 to 4 inches of water. And I anticipate we're going to see more scenes like this. Come with me now. I want to talk to our friends in Bend, Texas, Chappelle, Texas. Right now, you're under a flash flood emergency. You've already seen 8 inches of rain. You could see even more. When we get colors like this on the map, that's telling me this is a life-threatening situation, potentially catastrophic. Notice how it's north of Kerrville, where we saw the tragic flooding last weekend. Well, what's going to happen as we head throughout the day is more rain is going to head farther south and east, impacting areas previously hit. Austin, San Antonio, Kerrville, Uvalde, heads up as we head through today and tomorrow. I will say, while we're not anticipating as much rain as last week, the grounds are already saturated, so it could still be a very dangerous situation. Janae?
Certainly raises concern when we hear you say the potential for catastrophic flooding, Samara. Thank you. Now to more on the Texas floods. Teams searching for the more than 160 people still missing a week after the catastrophe. ABC's Jacqueline Lee joins us live from Kerrville again this morning, where, Jacqueline, you've been talking with families still just mourning and hearts aching.
Janae, good morning. That's right. These families are devastated, and President Trump calling for additional bells or flood alarms if this were to happen again in the middle of the night. Meanwhile, here on the ground, there is an overwhelming amount of debris left to clean up as crews continue to search for victims.
This morning, hard-hit Texas grieving as families put loved ones to rest after that devastating flash flooding killed at least 129 people and counting, including 17-year-old Malaya Hammond.
It's devastating not to be there at her wedding, to hold her children, to be grandparents. It's I don't have words for the grief.
The last time Matthew and Elizabeth Hammond saw their daughter alive, she was floating on her back down the river, singing hymns to keep calm.
Malaya knew to get on her back because of her lifeguard training, so she got on her back, and then she started singing that song that we were singing about Noah's Ark. She was singing it to keep herself calm.
Their minivan had just fallen off a bridge. The roaring current sucked them all down.
I felt myself go under and have the thought, like, oh my gosh, is this it?
Malaya's siblings got themselves to shore along with their parents, but Malaya was lost. Days later, the Hammonds discovering her body a mile away.
Just knowing that we found her body and knowing 100% that she is now with God, it's brought us so much closure.
While the Hammonds have closure, many families do not, with more than 160 people still missing. A new report from the Associated Press indicates that Camp Mystic, where 27 campers and counselors died from those devastating floodwaters, were originally included on a 2011 national flood insurance map that would have required it to have higher insurance costs and stricter regulations on new construction. But after successive appeals over several years, federal regulators removed numerous buildings at Camp Mystic from those maps.
The Hammond family telling me Malaya died a hero. She got her siblings out of the car before she was swept up by the current. Devastating stories of loss and sacrifice. Malika.
Jacqueline, a hero is absolutely correct. We're holding the Hammond family and all the families affected by this tragedy certainly in our hearts. To Washington now, as President Trump threatens the European Union with Mexico with new tariffs. ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has more. Selena, good morning.
Hey, Malika, good morning. And this could have a huge impact. The president is slapping more tariffs on some of our biggest trading partners. This time, it's the European Union and Mexico. Starting on August 1st, they'll face 30% tariffs. So the justification here, well, Trump blames Mexico for the flow of fentanyl across the border and the EU for America's trade deficit. Both are slamming Trump's move. Mexico calls this an unfair deal, and the EU warns this is going to harm businesses and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic. And Malika, what's striking here is that both Mexico and the EU were in active negotiations with the U.S. trying to avoid this very scenario. Remember, Trump had promised 90 deals in 90 days, but instead of deals, many countries are getting these official letters declaring the new tariff rate that they're going to face, Malika.
So, Selena, what could the impact be on the United States consumers here?
Yeah, it's unclear, but it could be big. The U.S. imports everything from cars to avocados from Mexico. But a Trump administration official tells me the goods covered under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement could be spared. From the EU, we bring in a lot of pharmaceutical products, machinery, and wine and spirits. But what we're talking about here is just the start. Trump has also threatened 25% tariffs on Japan and South Korea, 35% tariffs on Canada, massive 50% tariffs on Brazil, a move that could make your cup of coffee more expensive, plus steep tariffs on Cambodia and Bangladesh that could raise prices for clothing and shoes. The list is growing here, and so is the concern about the potential ripple effects on your wallet. Malika?
Selena, as that list continues to grow, we will continue to check in with you. Thank you so very much. Gio?
All right, Malika, we turn now to a shakeup at the Justice Department. This morning, sources tell ABC News that Attorney General Pam Bondi has fired at least 20 prosecutors and support staff, all who worked with former special counsel Jack Smith on his investigations into President Trump. Senior leadership at the DOJ had already ousted most of the remaining prosecutors. A source telling ABC that many of those fired had been in administrative and/or support positions. In other words, they were not the kind of staff involved in prosecutorial decisions. There's been no comment from the Justice Department. Janae?
All right, Gio, let's bring in ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, who will be hosting This Week later this morning. John, thanks for being with us. Exactly what Gio was just talking about. The reported firings at the Justice Department, they come as Attorney General Pam Bondi faces some backlash from some Trump supporters over the Epstein files. What's the president saying about her?
Yeah, we're going to take a deep dive into this rather murky story on This Week. It's a huge controversy that has pitted the MAGA movement, some of Trump's loudest and most prominent supporters, against Pam Bondi and others in the Trump administration over their promise to release the so-called Epstein files, the investigative records on the case of Jeffrey Epstein, of course, was the convicted sex trafficker, financier who was found dead in his jail cell back in 2019. Pam Bondi is, over the weekend, there was a big event in Tampa, a Turning Points USA event. This is the core of Trump's MAGA movement, and speaker after speaker was slamming her, blaming her for the fact that the material has not been released and apparently is not going to be released. But overnight, Donald Trump put out a lengthy Truth Social post, Janae. I mean, it's a long one. It goes on for a full page, saying that he effectively has complete confidence in Pam Bondi and saying, what is going on with my, quote, boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job.
I mean, John, you described the story as murky. It just gets murkier. And thank you for showing us just how long that Truth Social post was. Also want to ask you about what you've heard about the timing for and the reasons behind the timing for the new round of Trump tariffs.
This is some significant new tariffs against America's closest allies and biggest trading partners, Canada, Mexico, the European Union. They will go in effect on August 1st. Significant tariffs that were coming just as these countries were negotiating with the United States to try to get some kind of a trade agreement in place. But it's basically happening because the president's a 90-day pause that he announced is coming to a close, and he's following through with his threat to impose very harsh tariffs on countries with whom we have not established a new trade agreement with.
I mean, John, we always say it's a busy news morning. It certainly is for you. Thank you so much for being with us. And make sure to tune in to This Week later this morning with John as he speaks with National Economic Council Chair Kevin Hassett. Malika.
Janae, thank you. President Trump is putting the war in Ukraine back on the front page, saying he'll have a major statement early this week on Russia. Trump's announcement coming as Russia intensifies drone and missile attacks across Ukraine. ABC's Marcus Moore has the details. Marcus, good morning.
Malika, good to be with you this morning. And, everyone will be watching very closely for what President Trump is expected to say on Monday during this announcement. The Russia-Ukraine war, of course, top of mind. It's unclear what the message will be, but it comes at a time of intensifying Russian attacks on Ukraine, including a wave of strikes this weekend that killed more than 20 people and caused extensive damage in various areas from Sumy to Kharkiv. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched nearly 600 drones and 26 missiles at the country in just one day. Officials said most of those projectiles were intercepted, but some did make it through. We've seen the damage there. They hit civilian areas, including residential buildings. Now, Ukraine's President Zelensky is calling for more sanctions on Russia to end this war, in particular sanctions on those helping Russia produce its drones, as well as profiting from the country's oil exports. And President Zelensky also imploring Western officials for more air defense capabilities. Now, President Trump has expressed frustration with Russia's Vladimir Putin over the lack of progress in securing an end to this war. And Russian officials, we've heard from them, they are saying that they will be watching very closely for President Trump's expected comments on Monday. And guys, it remains to be seen if this will lead to a breakthrough in this war that really unbelievably has been going on now for more than 3 years.
For more than 3 years. You have been a part of the team out there covering it, Marcus. We appreciate you, and it is so good to see your face here in studio. Thank you for being with us. Yeah. All right, turning here to home, where the wildfire emergency in the Grand Canyon. 2 fires out of control this morning and still growing rapidly. ABC's Melissa Adon has those details. Good morning to you, Melissa.
Hey, good morning, Janae. So evacuation orders remain in place in Arizona. This is near the Grand Canyon due to these explosive wildfires. The White Sage Fire is nearly 20,000 acres, growing almost 40 times in size over 48 hours. And the flames there are along the north rim of the Grand Canyon National Park. Now, flames breaking out Wednesday following a thunderstorm that moved through the area. Crews combating the fire by air assault. All of this as the nearby Dragon Bravo fire grows to 5,000 acres. That one got started on July 4th after a lightning strike. The fire initially under control, but recent hot, dry and windy conditions have only fanned flames. Now an extreme heat warning is in place and more than 200 crews are on the ground. Now each of these Arizona wildfires are currently 0% contained, but parts of the Grand Canyon remain closed to visitors. This after about 500 guests were evacuated from the national park and nearby residents are under mandatory evacuation orders. And Gio, these closures are expected to last for weeks until the area is deemed safe. Gio?
All right, a scary situation there. Melissa, thank you so much. All right, we're going to turn now to a GMA health alert on diabetes, including new data from the CDC showing that an estimated 1 in 3 kids between the ages of 12 and 17 have prediabetes. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darien Sutton is right here to help us break this all down. And as a family, I grew up in a family with so much diabetes. This is terrifying. This is really terrifying. So what are the findings, and really what is prediabetes?
I'm so glad that you asked that, because so many patients have a diagnosis of prediabetes and don't know. So prediabetes is essentially a warning sign that your body is having difficulty managing sugar. And the reason why it's important to know about that is because there's no symptoms often. It is often silent. It has to be tested for. And the warning is that if you get that diagnosis, your risk of developing diabetes increases by up to 30% within 5 years and 70% within your lifetime. And this new data shows us that this diagnosis is now considered common among teens and adolescents. This new data and analysis from the CDC shows that 1 in 3 adolescents, as you said, between the ages of 12 and 17 have a diagnosis of prediabetes, a rate that has more than doubled since the year 2000. And separately, for adults, we've seen the rate of new diagnosis of diabetes stop decreasing after more than a decade of decline. And to give you some context into how important this is, diabetes is so much more than a problem with sugar. It damages blood vessels, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke, which are the leading causes of death within the United States.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. When you're talking about prediabetes in teens, is treatment different than with adults?
Well, treatment is very much the same, but the key here is prevention. Diabetes or prediabetes is more than just a diagnosis, it's an opportunity, but many parents don't know how to test for it. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as the American Diabetes Association, has recommendations on who to screen, and you start with the highest at risk. And there are some caveats here to understand, because for many it may not be obvious. So number one, if your teen is overweight or obese, that is the leading risk factor. If they have additional risk factors, at least a family history of diabetes, signs of insulin resistance that can include high blood pressure or high cholesterol, or if their mother had diabetes during pregnancy, if one or more of those risk factors, that teen should be screened, and that involves a blood test. We look at a test called an A1C. It looks to see how much sugar is bound in your blood. You want a number below 5.7%. The higher the percent, the more the risk.
We have about 30 seconds, but I just want to ask you, how should families prevent this? What do they do?
Yeah, well, start by knowing the numbers, talking to your provider, getting a basic routine exam, and then screening from there. And I think it's really important when you're talking about weight with teens that you emphasize on lifestyle changes and not diet trends. It can be very difficult during that period of life. And the recommendations for activity are a lot more than you would think. For teens and adolescents, it's recommended at least 60 minutes of physical activity a day. Now, it doesn't have to be running. That can simply be walking, but making sure you're mindful of your diet, mindful of sugar consumption, and again, teaching ways to live a long, healthy life instead of just short adjustments.
Such important information. Dr. Darien Sutton, as always, thank you so much. Malik?
I love that reframe about making sure that you see this as an opportunity. Dr. Sutton, we really appreciate it. To Wimbledon now, as Poland's Iga Swiatek became the first woman in more than a century to win a Wimbledon final without losing a single game, defeating American Amanda Anisimova. ABC's Olivia Rubin joins us with more. Olivia, good morning. What a match we had.
Good morning, Malika. You took the words right out of my mouth. What a match. It was a decisive and, quite frankly, dominating win for Iga out there. It was some incredible tennis, but there was also heartbreak on the court yesterday for that young American hoping to make history.
That's it. This morning, a new tennis champ celebrating her triumph at the Wimbledon Women's Final.
Now a Grand Slam champion for all surfaces.
Iga Swiatek beating American Amanda Anisimova in a quick and decisive match.
That's it.
Clenching her very first Wimbledon win and 6th Grand Slam.
I didn't even dream, because for me it was just like way too far. I never really expected this one.
The final score, crushing. 6-0, 6-0, Anisimova unable to win a single game. The first time Wimbledon says that's happened in 114 years. For Swiatek, she was on fire from the moment she stepped on the court.
She is so intense and focused.
But it's a heartbreaking loss for the 23-year-old New Jersey native who was hoping to become the first American woman to take home that title since Serena Williams nearly a decade ago.
It's a struggle. It's an uphill battle here with Anisimova.
She was the first American woman to make it there since 2019.
I know I didn't have enough today, but I'm going to keep putting in the work, and I always believe in myself, so I hope to be back here again one day.
And another first for Iga. We've talked about a lot of firsts in this tournament. She is now the first Polish player, man or woman, to win that title.
Congratulations, certainly, to Iga. We'll be digging into the men's final matchup in the next half hour with our tennis pro, James Blake. Janae?
That's right.
Amazing. A lot to look forward to. Thank you, Olivia.
Let's talk soccer because it's happening just next door, really. The Club World Cup final, it's kicking off in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium. Ike Ajachi, you're following that.
Yeah, that's right, Gio. This is going to be a massive soccer showdown later today. Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea will battle it out at MetLife Stadium for the honor of becoming the first winner of the expanded 32-team tournament. President Trump confirming he'll be attending the final match, so expect a lot of travel troubles in the area. But Chelsea, the 2022 Club World Cup champions, have shown solid form throughout the tournament, knocking out strong teams like Fluminense and Benfica. Meanwhile, PSG, the top team in the world right now and the favorites to win the match, are fresh off their UEFA Champions League triumph. They've been on fire, with the potential $125 million payday for the winner and a $1 billion prize pool. Let's just say there's a little more than pride on the line tonight.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
right.
I'm thinking about the traffic on Route 3 though, headed into Jersey, but
That's
all
right, our
That's
Jersey
all right.
girl right here. Thank you, Mike. Coming up here on Good Morning America, New York Yankees standout Aaron Judge has added yet another remarkable achievement to his resume.
Plus, super box office, and it's not just Superman, the reboot, the blockbusters, they are packing them in this summer.
And alternatives to the usual vacation locations, the places that you can book for less. You don't want to miss this. Stick around. You're watching GMA on this Sunday morning. I was ready to sing along. I won't do it to you. Backstreet's back, all right. The iconic boy band that started more than 30 years ago launched its 6-week residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas this weekend. Another boy band icon, Lance Bass of NSYNC, was in the audience to support them on opening night. So maybe too was Tori Johnson and her daughter at that show. Yeah,
Oh
who
my
wouldn't go out to see Backstreet Boys?
Did I ever tell you that was my first concert?
Mine too.
Was it really?
Yes.
Were we at the same one?
Show
That's
you my age if I
hilarious.
tell you
Fifth
my
grade.
first concert.
Say it.
It was an American Idol reunion tour with Carrie Underwood.
That's adorable.
That's a good one, though. That's a really good one. All right, here are some of the top headlines we're following right now. Backlash over the newly released preliminary report about the Air India crash that said fuel to the engines was cut shortly after takeoff. The Airline Pilots Association of India slamming the early findings from India's aviation authority, saying it suggests a bias toward pilot error. At least 260 people died when the Boeing 787 went down a month ago.
A sports milestone to note, Aaron Judge became the fastest Major League Baseball player to hit 350 home runs this weekend. It was his 35th season, the milestone happening while the Yankee was playing on his home turf here in New York. Judge hit his first home run nearly 9 years ago. Even so, those Chicago Cubs, they held it down, beat the Yankees 5-2.
Janae's Cubs.
Oh, Sports Janae, another milestone in the sports world that I'm so excited to share. My colleague from ESPN, Jay Harris, he's back in the Sports Center anchor desk after he took a leave for prostate cancer surgery. Jay announced his diagnosis to the world right here on GMA last month, saying, quote, "We need to talk about these things to bring awareness." I am so glad that he is back. Yes. He is healthy, and we get to see him back on our airwaves. He makes all of us better. And we start this half hour with the excitement at Wimbledon, the feeling around this men's final. I feel like it's palpable. Yeah. The showdown between rivals, the young stars of the sport in Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Joining us once again from the tournament is former tennis professional, now an ESPN analyst, James Blake. James, welcome back. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to get into this matchup because before we get to the men's final, though, I just want to quickly recap. We should, right? The women's final Saturday, American Amanda Anisimova faced a tough competitor here in Iga Swiatek.
Yeah, it was a masterclass from Iga Swiatek in how to finish a tournament. She got to the finals and didn't drop a game against Amanda Anisimova. I think in the long run, it'll make Anisimova stronger and better in the future. She's going to get a little fitter and be ready for these 2 weeks. But Iga, her 6th title from 6 finals, just really incredible performance late in Grand Slams.
Yeah, absolutely amazing performance. Let's talk about today's matchup, though. Jannik Sinner seemed to have an easier time getting to the finals. It took Carlos Alcaraz 4 sets to beat American Taylor Fritz. So does that give you any sort of clue about what we might see today?
No, I think the better clue is what happened last month when they were in a 5.5-hour battle at Roland Garros. So these guys know each other so well. They've had some epic matches, and I'm expecting another one here. Jannik Sinner is poised for revenge. He had a great match against Novak Djokovic. Djokovic may be a little injured in that one, but don't take anything away from Jannik Sinner. These are the two best in the world by far, and they're proving it day in and day out, and I'm just looking forward to another epic final between these two.
Oh, 5.5-hour match last time. That means today we could be in for a long one. Now let's look ahead to the U.S. Open.
Get your popcorn ready.
It's just 6 weeks away. Coco Gauff, she made an early exit at Wimbledon, but it may give her extra time to prepare. How's it looking for her and other Americans on their home turf?
Yeah, the American women for so many years have been absolutely dominant. They've been doing so well, and now they've had someone a woman in the finals of the last 4 Grand Slams. Pegula, then Madison Keys, and Coco Gauff winning, and now Amanda Anisimova. So they've got such a deep roster. Emma Navarro has been doing great, so they have a chance to completely dominate. I mean, they've got 4 in the top 10, and I like the chances. Coco Gauff will be much more comfortable on the hard courts. She's won the U.S. Open before. I love her chances, and if she comes back with a little more confidence than she had here at Wimbledon, maybe a little more rested after she had a whirlwind coming from winning the French Open to here. I love her chances, and the American women are going to be looking to carry the American flag again.
We can't wait to see what happens. James, thanks so much. As you said, grab the popcorn, and you can watch the Wimbledon men's singles final on ESPN or stream it live on ESPN Plus or Disney Plus. The match is set to begin at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hollywood and audiences loving the big picture right now. The summer movie season is looking as bright as a sunshiny day. ABC's Rena Roy, also looking as bright as a sunshiny day, is here with more on the big blockbusters. Hey, Rena.
Yeah, very bright indeed, you guys. This really seems to be the summer of the sequel and reboot. Classic favorites are getting a modern twist, and it's definitely paying off at the box office.
Up, Up, and Away, the new Superman movie soaring to the top. Flying to a possible record debut at the box office, expected to bring in up to $120 million.
Eyes up here.
David Cornsweet starring as Superman himself, and in a nod to the original red-caped superhero, Christopher Reeve.
Hey, Jim! Excuse me. That's a bad.
Our own Will Reeve taking the silver screen in this latest reboot.
The Justice Gang has arrived on the scene.
A wildly entertaining Superman movie that balances the new with the familiar.
And it's a great start overall at the summer box office, with multiple movies smashing records. F1 starring Brad Pitt racing ahead, coming out on top its debut weekend, getting its boost from IMAX, which is on track to see its best year ever. Also showing blockbuster hits like Sinners.
You twins? Nah, we cousins.
And Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
IMAX, other formats like Dolby, D-Box, 4DX, Luma 4D, they're really pushing the conversation to having a premium experience for moviegoers. Yes, at a higher price point, but we've seen audiences really embrace that for the experience.
This little guy also making his mark. Lilo & Stitch already becoming the highest grossing film of the year, earning nearly $1 billion. Jurassic World Rebirth with Scarlett Johansson also in the lead, earning more than $300 million in just 10 days.
I just got back from watching Jurassic World Rebirth, and wow.
What it comes down to is the right movie at the right time. This is an industry that renews itself, that revitalizes itself every Friday. So every Friday you have an opportunity to offer audiences something new.
Now, clearly, July is already shaping up to be one of the most important months in this year's box office, but we also still have so much to look forward to, including Marvel's Fantastic Four and Freakier Friday, the sequel to Freaky Friday, which I know a lot of millennials like myself are excited for. Gotta love that early 2000s nostalgia.
And also, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's next week as well.
Yes. Wow, we're really throwing it back.
That's right.
I'm really excited for the Freakier Friday, though.
I know.
Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis. Throwback to that.
So
that's going to be so much fun. We got a lot of movies. Got to add it to the list to go and see. Thank you so much. It's always good to see you in studio as well. I love being able to hang with you all in person. Coming up here on Good Morning America, we have travel destination alternative spots to visit that you may not have thought about. Travel expert Henley Vasquez is here to share her advice on Good Morning America.
All right, we are back now on GMA with great ideas if you still haven't booked that summer vacation, okay? Choosing a spot that fulfills what you want out of a trip without the cost or all the crowds, that can be really tough. So we're bringing in here travel expert Henley Vasquez. She's here with new next-level destinations, travel upgrades for the ultimate getaway. It is so good to see you.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Good to be here.
Good to be, and it's good to have you, especially because we're talking about all these different types of destinations. Yes. We're going to start with the romantic trip. Yes. A lot of people always think Paris, Paris, right?
Yeah.
But you say there's another one on the list.
Well, Paris is Fora's #1 booked international city. So it's not that we don't love Paris, we do. But if you can't make it there this summer or you want to avoid the crowds, my hot take, Charleston, South Carolina.
Really?
Foodie destination, an incredible culinary scene. So if you're a couple that wants to get away for a long weekend, eat well. Also, the boutique hotels, we've seen a 3x increase in bookings for Charleston, but they're still averaging under $500 a night, and they're so charming, it's almost like the left bank of Paris.
Wow. All right.
Charleston,
a lot of people talk about
Charleston.
Yeah.
She says foodie city, and I am there. What if we want to wiggle our toes in the sand a little bit? I'm thinking, I've never been to Costa Rica, but I think a beachfront style vacation, is there an alternative there that's maybe a little more affordable?
Sort of the thing about Costa Rica is it's not just the beach, right? You have the rainforest and the jungle and the beach. It's super special to me. I actually started working on Fora while I was living there in 2021.
Oh my gosh.
Since 2021, it's gotten quite popular, so it's gotten more expensive, more crowded. So a few weeks ago, I went back to that area, but I took my kids to Nicaragua instead.
Oh, yeah.
So 2-hour flight from Miami, not that hard to get to, similar eco-adventure kind of thing, and also super safe. My teenage son was taking himself to surf lessons. My 8-year-old daughter was in a kids camp. She went to local farms, rode horses, made tortillas. So you have all of that experience, but like half the price.
That's really good, because I don't think most people would think about Nicaragua.
It is not on the radar, but it will be.
Yeah, okay, good to know. Also, the trend of jet setting, White Lotus made places like Thailand such a big hit. What's your alternative idea?
Yeah, so the White Lotus effect is real. It was Maui, then last summer it was Sicily, and now Thailand is blowing up. But what we are seeing at Fora is not everybody wants to fly all the way around the world. So I actually have 2 alternatives, neither of which are probably on your radar yet.
Okay.
One, Livongo Resort. This is tree houses and glamping tents. I was there a couple months ago. It is the U.S. Virgin Islands, so you feel like you might be in Thailand.
Without a passport?
No passport. You don't even need your passport. 3.5-hour flight from New York. The other one, so in White Lotus, right, the resort is a wellness-oriented resort. So there, I would tell you, Bacalar, Mexico. This actually wasn't very easy to reach, but with the opening of the Tulum airport now, flying to Tulum, 2-hour drive, and it's wellness, little resorts. People haven't heard of them yet, and it's on lagoons. This is the kind of place for a good yoga retreat. So not so hard to get to, but feels a little bit like Thailand.
And look at the water we just showed. That looked amazing. That was beautiful.
Should we book a trip?
Right?
Let's go.
Let's go. What about if you want to do an outdoorsy type of trip? You want to go to a safari, but maybe not Africa?
Yes, so the multi-gen safari is such a thing, especially for landmark birthdays, celebrations, graduations. People's schedules are nuts. I'm sure you're feeling that this summer. Trying to coordinate multiple generations to go all the way to Africa can be a little bit hard. So at Fora, what we're seeing a lot of, and this actually goes into the set jetting trend too with Yellowstone, Montana, Wyoming, dude ranches. So fun, so outdoorsy. It's not exactly the American safari, but you have wildlife and you have natural settings. And also it's great. Grandparents who maybe aren't as active, that's fine. They can enjoy the scenery. And then the younger generations can just be out and about all day and you all come together at the end. So a really special trip, but one that you can do in, 4 to 5 days instead of 10.
And as we've seen, there's a lot of wildlife out there too. Not the animals of Africa, right?
Not exactly the safari, but still incredible.
These are great suggestions.
Thank you.
Henley, you crushed it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, wait. Raise your hand if you have curly hair. Thank you for starting your day with us. Malika, thank you for being with us this weekend.
It was great to be with the Curly crew. Thank you guys so much for having me. You can catch more weekend news and coverage from our team over at ABC News Live. Have a great day.
See you, everybody. Great job. High five.
So much fun. Let's make it easy.